In the heart of Manila, where jeepneys honk endlessly and the air smells of rain and roasted corn, a 17-year-old boy named Arvin Dela Cruz spends his evenings singing under the soft flicker of a broken streetlight. His shoes are worn out, his shirt faded, but his voice carries a beauty that could quiet the chaos around him. Each night, he sets up his small plastic stool and starts to sing for whoever passes by. Some nights he earns enough to buy rice for dinner, other nights, only a few coins drop into his tin can. Still, he sings with the same passion, eyes closed, as if he were performing for thousands. He sings because it's the only thing that makes him forget how hard life has been. His father drives a tricycle all day, coming home covered in sweat and dust, while his mother sells vegetables at the wet market from dawn until dusk. Arvin dreams of helping them one day, of singing on a real stage where the lights aren't flickering and the microphone doesn't crackle. One rainy evening, while singing a cover of "You Raise Me Up," a foreign tourist stops to listen. The man is moved by the boy's raw emotion and takes out his phone to record him. Arvin doesn't notice, he's lost in the song, his voice trembling with every note that speaks of struggle and hope. The next day, the video is uploaded to social media with the caption, "The Voice from the Streets of Manila." Within hours, it starts spreading, people all over the world sharing the performance. Arvin continues his daily routine, unaware that his life is about to change. Days later, as he sings at the same spot, a group of kids rush toward him, yelling that he's famous. Confused, he checks his old cracked phone and sees thousands of notifications. His heart beats fast as he scrolls through messages, people from America, Europe, and the Philippines praising his voice. Some call him a miracle. He doesn't know what to say. That night, as he lies on the thin mattress beside his sleeping parents, tears roll down his face. For the first time, he feels like maybe his dream isn't impossible. The next morning, reporters show up in their narrow alleyway, asking for interviews. His mother hides her nervous smile behind her apron, proud yet overwhelmed. Cameras flash as Arvin speaks shyly about how he just wanted to sing to help his family. TV shows start calling. Local musicians offer to help him record a song. But even with all the excitement, Arvin stays humble. He continues to perform on the street, saying it reminds him where he came from. One evening, while finishing his last song, a call comes in from a producer in Los Angeles who saw his viral video. They invite him to audition for America's Got Talent. The phone almost slips from his hand. He laughs, then cries, then hugs his mother tight, not believing it's real. She wipes her tears and says softly, "Go, Anik. The world needs to hear you." Weeks later, he boards a plane for the first time in his life, carrying only a small bag, his rosary, and the dream that's kept him alive all these years. The city lights of Los Angeles dazzle him as he steps out of the airport, feeling both terrified and alive. He rehearses in his hotel room, singing quietly so he doesn't disturb the neighbors. On the day of the audition, he walks backstage among other contestants, heart pounding. When the producer calls his name, he steps toward the stage where bright lights and thousands of eyes wait. As he stands before the judges, especially Simon Cowell, fear grips him. But then he remembers the streetlights of Manila, his parents' tired faces, and the laughter of the kids who cheered him on. He takes a deep breath, closes his eyes, and begins to sing. From the first note, the entire room falls silent. The world that once ignored him is now listening. Arvin stands frozen on the massive stage of America's Got Talent, staring at the bright lights that feel almost blinding. The theater is packed, cameras are everywhere, and his hands tremble around the microphone. He can hear his own heartbeat echoing in his chest. When Simon Cowell looks up from his notes and says, "Whenever you're ready," Arvin closes his eyes and remembers the streets of Manila. He remembers singing under that flickering streetlight, the sound of rain hitting the pavement, and his mother's voice telling him that dreams are worth chasing. Then, he begins to sing. The first note escapes him softly, but the emotion in it immediately silences the crowd. His song choice, "The Impossible Dream," fills the air with pain, hope, and determination. Every word feels like it's pulled straight from his heart. He sings about struggle, about holding on, about believing even when no one else does. By the time he reaches the final chorus, the audience is on their feet, tears in their eyes. When the last note fades, there's a second of silence, the kind that feels like eternity, and then the entire room erupts in applause. Simon blinks, visibly moved. He leans forward and says, "That wasn't just singing, Arvin. That was storytelling. You didn't just perform, you lived every line." Heidi wipes her eyes. Sophia claps and says, "That was beautiful, sweetheart." Howie Mandel smiles and calls him, a reminder of what this show is all about. When Simon presses the golden buzzer, gold confetti rains down like a miracle. Arvin covers his face, falling to his knees as tears stream down. The audience chants his name. Somewhere in the back of his mind, he wishes his parents could see this moment. The video of his audition goes viral overnight, hitting millions of views within hours. People around the world are calling him the golden voice from Manila. The days that follow are surreal. Interviews, photo shoots, and rehearsals fill his schedule. But fame brings pressure too. The semi-finals are approaching, and expectations are high. Arvin practices for hours, pushing his voice beyond exhaustion. He wants to make his country proud. One night, while scrolling through messages, he gets a video call from his mother. Her face looks tired. She tells him his father has fallen ill and can't drive his tricycle anymore. The news hits him like a punch to the chest. He feels guilty for being so far away, chasing dreams while his father lies sick. During rehearsals the next day, his voice cracks several times. The producers ask if he's okay, and he nods weakly. But inside, he's breaking apart. On the night of the semi-finals, he stands backstage, gripping his rosary tightly. His hands shake, and his throat feels dry. He looks at the big screen where his name flashes and whispers a prayer, for Papa. When it's his turn, he walks to the center of the stage and tells the judges he'll be dedicating his song to his father back home. The lights dim, and the piano begins. He sings, "You Raise Me Up," and from the first line, the audience can feel the pain in his voice. Every word carries love, fear, and hope. His voice cracks at one point, but instead of breaking, it makes the performance even more emotional. The camera zooms in on his tearful face as he pours his heart into every lyric. By the end, the crowd is sobbing, standing again before the final note even fades. Simon stands up slowly, clapping, his voice soft but firm. "That wasn't a performance. That was your soul." Heidi says, "You just made everyone in this room feel your pain and your love." The judge's eyes glisten under the lights. Arvin can barely speak, whispering a thank you before walking off stage with tears in his eyes. Backstage, he collapses into the arms of one of the crew members, crying not from sadness but from release. In that moment, he realizes music is more than talent, it's healing. The world watches the performance again and again, and millions of comments flood social media. Strangers write about how his voice reminded them of their own struggles. Arvin sits in his hotel room later that night, watching the replay on his phone, whispering, "Papa, I hope you're proud." The night of the grand finale arrives, and Arvin Dela Cruz stands backstage at the Dolby Theater, his heart pounding harder than ever. The bright lights flash across the audience, the sound of cheering fills the massive hall, and he can feel the energy vibrating through his chest. This is it, the moment he's dreamed of since he was a boy singing on the streets of Manila. His hands tremble as he holds the microphone, but his spirit feels calm. He knows his father is still recovering back home, his mother praying in front of the television with tears in her eyes. Arvin closes his eyes, takes a deep breath, and reminds himself that tonight is not about winning. It's about gratitude, love, and the voice that carried him out of poverty and into the world's heart. The stage manager signals him to walk out. As he steps onto the stage, the audience explodes with applause. His name flashes across giant screens, Arvin Dela Cruz, Philippines. He bows slightly, smiling through the nerves. Simon Cowell nods encouragingly from behind the judge's table. Arvin speaks softly into the microphone, saying, "This song is my story, my family's story, and the story of everyone who still believes in hope." Then, the music begins, soft piano chords, followed by gentle strings. The song is his original piece, "Home in My Heart," which he wrote after hearing about his father's illness. The lyrics tell of struggle, faith, and finding home no matter how far you go. His voice fills the theater, soaring with emotion. Every note is crystal clear, raw and honest. People in the audience hold their hands to their chests, visibly moved. As the song builds, visuals of his hometown in Manila play on the screen behind him. Narrow streets, children playing barefoot, his family smiling through hardship. When he reaches the final chorus, he lifts his hand toward the ceiling, eyes closed, tears streaming down. The audience rises to their feet, applauding before he even finishes. The judges look stunned. Simon wipes the corner of his eye before speaking. "Arvin," he says slowly, "you didn't just perform tonight, you gave us a piece of your soul. That was absolutely beautiful." Heidi says she's never seen an audience so emotional. Sophia tells him, "You made the world feel what it means to fight for your dream." Howie smiles proudly and says, "You're the heart of this season." When the results are announced, Arvin stands on stage beside two other finalists, holding his rosary tight in his hands. The lights dim, and the host's voice echoes. The winner of America's Got Talent 2025 is. There's a pause that feels endless, then the host shouts, "Arvin Dela Cruz." The crowd roars. Confetti fills the air, gold and silver raining down like blessings. Arvin gasps, covers his face, and drops to his knees in disbelief. Tears pour freely as he thanks the judges, the audience, and his country. Simon walks up to the stage to shake his hand, telling him, "You just made history." Cameras flash, and Arvin's phone explodes with messages from fans all over the world. But in his heart, he's thinking only of home, of his parents, of the streets that raised him, of the little boy who used to sing for coins and dreams. Weeks later, Arvin returns to Manila. As his plane lands, he looks out the window and sees the city that started it all. When he steps out, hundreds of people are waiting, waving flags and banners that read, "Welcome home, Arvin." He's overwhelmed as children run up to him, asking for autographs. Reporters crowd around, but all he can do is smile and wave. He visits his father in the small house where he grew up, hugging him tightly as tears fall down both their faces. "You did it, son," his father whispers. "You made the world cry." With his prize money, Arvin builds a small music school for poor children, giving them the same chance he never had. He calls it, the Streetlight Academy, in memory of the light he used to sing under. In the final scene, Arvin returns to that same corner in Manila where his journey began. He sets up his old stool, pulls out a microphone, and begins to sing softly. This time, the crowd around him isn't just a few passers-by, it's the entire neighborhood, smiling and singing along. The camera zooms out slowly, capturing the sound of his voice echoing through the night. The world listens again, reminded that sometimes the brightest stars are born from the darkest streets.